Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Metal video. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to beat the Future Saga SPR stage with no items. Now, I'm going to be entirely honest with you, the best way to beat the Future Saga SPR and ESPR is with stunning, but I kind of like, how can I say this? I kind of just wanted to do a cool themed one, basically just, to get like a really cool feel for, just this team. Just basically to do something a little bit different while I can, and just, basically make something a bit more thematic and a bit cooler. So we've got here the tech merged Zamasu EZA unit that does pretty good damage. He also debuffs, units that are, how can I say, he debuffs units and lowers their attack and defense, which is pretty cool. I think that kind of helps us out a lot. Then of course, he also does this really cool kind of ability, and that just basically allows him to essentially buff the rest of our team as well, which is good, and he does some really good damage as well. So just in general, like, just some good solid stuff by him, which I think is really solid. Then we have the tech, our Rose and Zamasu, or Rose Zamasu as people like to call them. Really strong unit that gains a lot of defense on being hit, which is really awesome. And then also obviously as well kind of contributes offensively after getting hit a couple of times, which is really good. We have Strength Rose, which people obviously really like. Strength Rose does a really good job in SPR and ESPR because he debuffs the opposition. So by debuffing the opposition, generally that's very strong, because in the SPR or ESPR and SPR, you can lower the opposition's attack and defense a lot. So having those two together, generally speaking, is pretty good, and for the most part is something that I would say is really solid. So I think overall I would probably have to say that it's a fairly decent situation, at least from my perspective, when we look at just how difficult or like how good this team build is. Obviously one thing it does lack is a bit of utility. As kind of mentioned, the best way to take stages out is leveling, is stunning, which is super duper important. So yeah, obviously if you don't have that, it can be a little bit inconsistent in terms of its build, at least on face value, especially since there's so many stages that have one or two enemies. And so, like I say, having the ability to essentially stun the enemies and keep them stun locked, if they can't hit you, then obviously you can't really, I guess, be hit, which obviously kind of makes doing a no item run a little bit easier. But again, it's just entirely dependent a little bit on how you find everything. And yeah, just in general is a pretty straightforward, I want to say, principle on how to win, but isn't necessarily like the absolute easiest in terms of strategy. Beyond that though, AGL Zamasu does a pretty decent job. We have Strength Zamasu, who also does a pretty decent job. I think a lot of the choices here are solid, if not unspectacular. Again, it kind of comes down to what you're personally happy with, and I think for me, I'd have to say that Zamasu and this kind of build team is really fun, but does still lack a couple pieces. Now, if I had LR in merged Zamasu, I think then the team would be looking, I want to say, a little bit better, a little bit more consistent. But again, it's it just depends on what you've got and what you're rocking. But I think Strength Zamasu's EZA kind of comes in handy here as well, which is pretty good. I think it's a pretty rock solid EZA that does a good, if not unspectacular job, but still is really solid. And yeah, there's a lot of healing in this team, which I like, and there's a lot of good kind of consistent strong units that I like as well. So although there's not like the craziest stun strategy or best strategy for necessarily this specific stage, I think in general the team still is potent enough and powerful enough to really make things work. And then you also obviously have the tech androids who are also just very, very good, very solid units as well. So I think, you know, all things considered, the team is consistent enough that I'm pretty happy with it. I would just say, yeah, specifically if you're looking to do the best strategy for this stage, it's probably not this one, so to say. But with that being said, you know, to each their own, and it's just going to depend on what you've got in your marks. But yeah, I would definitely say that probably the best strategy is actually to, you know, just basically run like Trunks and my units, because the my units especially, and like Trunks and my units, they all have stuns, they all have seals, they all have active skills, they all have really good stuff like that. And in all of these phases you're also facing like extreme time traveler units and future saga units, which kind of gives them a little bit of an upper hand, if I'm being honest. But again, just depends on what you're rocking and what you're interested in. With that being said though, yeah, pretty happy with the team, pretty happy with everything that's going on. Don't think I'd change anything, at least for this. I would probably include some of these in the ESBR and SBR ones. Definitely Rose Masu and Strength Rose, I think are definitely a unit that will be included in the ESBR run. Together they just make a very potent, very powerful kind of combination, which I think, you know, a lot of players, at least myself, can appreciate. So yeah, I would definitely say that that's probably something I would do if I think change or at least include part of this team. I think the androids as well are probably a good choice, and are also a unit that I would consider using as well. So yeah, but beyond that, that's basically it. There's not really anything else too much to say. If you are interested in doing the Future Saga ESBR and SBR, give it a try. I think no item running it is relatively simple nowadays. You've got lots of good options. You've got this team, you've got the Super Trunks and my kind of build. You've got, you know, just a good variety of builds. You can even use units like, you know, Cell and stuff like that, like a full androids team as well. You've got the options, so I think there's a lot of fun in the teams, and I think there's a lot of fun in the strategies. So I would definitely suggest experimenting and just basically seeing how things go. But yeah, that's basically going to be it for me, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like and let me know if you enjoyed it. Otherwise, if you need help, you can let me know in the comments as well. And other than that, I will see you guys in the next one. So until then, as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you and bye.